Hey you guys, Matt Allen, Tim Little, welcome back to Tactical Bassin. For the last year and a half, almost 2 years, we have been doing full restorations of these two bass boats. From buying a bass boat, going out on the used market to find a used boat, to find the right project, to finding all the parts and pieces. We've gone through the entire process with you guys and the boats are finished. We want to walk you through these finished bass boats and show you what we've done with them.
So we are very excited to show you guys our completed projects. You know, like Matt said, this took a couple years in the making. I was in the market for a used boat, and we kind of hemmed and hawed around if we were going to go used or go new. And you know, new boats these days get very pricey very quickly. And the 210 Elite, the Champion, they don't make them anymore, and we knew that that was like the boat, the hull to have, the baddest rough water hull on the market. In fact, some other companies, you know, are trying to duplicate that hull, but out here on Clear Lake it gets really big, and this thing's a battleship. So we both actually, you know, Matt obviously went through that accident and had to replace his boat, so now we're kind of both in the market for used boats. So we both ended up getting twin Champion 210 Elites, and finally done, got them repowered, got everything done. So we're gonna walk through piece by piece, kind of show you what we did to each of our boats. They're almost identical, there's a little bit of differences, and tell you why.
Yeah, you know guys, when you're in the market for a boat, the reason we're walking you through this is you can go new, you can go used. We went back and forth, we waffled for a long time on which way we were gonna go, because there are some amazing new boats on the market. You're going to pay for it, there's a premium for that new boat, but there is some amazing technology there. We decided to go used this time around. The 210 hull was a hull that we've wanted for a long time. We've both run Champions before. We knew that hull, we knew what it could do, and we knew that if we took our time, bought the right pieces, and we worked together, we picked all the pieces for both boats, that we could take an older boat and build just an incredible battleship that would hang with the new boats on the market, and we could do it piece by piece and know those boats inside and out. It's up to you whether you go new or used, but when you're on the market, know that either way you can have an incredible boat, and I think that's what this is really about. So we'll show you what we did so that you can decide what's best for you.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. We had some help. You know, both of our boats came from the Midwest. I mean, we had to travel a long ways to get them, or at least search for them. We had some buddies, you know, helping us, and our buddy Jared actually found that one for me. I don't know who found yours or if you found it or what.
I found this one, but Coop went and bought it for me.
Yeah, and Coop drove mine to Arizona to meet me. So good friends helped out through this entire process. So thank you guys. Let's jump in these boats and show you guys what we put in them. So because these boats are almost identical, I'm gonna jump up in the boat and I'm gonna have Matt kind of go over the whole bow, the front end of the boat. Then we'll jump in my boat and go the back half. So let's jump up to the front and check out some of the things that Matt's got going on the deck of his boat.
All right, guys, on the front half of the boat, the first thing I'm gonna point out is that these are real boats. We are fishing out of these. So you're gonna see dirt, you're gonna see junk. That is part of it because we actually go out and fish out of these boats. The important stuff. Up front, both boats are almost identical. We're running Ultrex 112's 52-inch shaft. That's so when you're out in big rough water, and those waves are picking you up and dropping you, that shaft stays in the water, that prop stays in the water, you can hold on spots in really, really rough conditions. Now because we're running 112s, there's a ton of power, there's a ton of torque. We also have eliminator prop nuts on the front of both boats to help with that torque and to quiet those motors down. Humminbird 360, all of that is tied in. These are Humminbird Solixes. A Solix 15 is what Tim and I both run on the front of the boat. This is the Ultrex pedal. Of course, with an Ultrex, you can spot lock, you can set heading, you can interface with the Solix. There's all sorts of things that we're able to do that is just incredible, that didn't even exist in the marketplace just a few short years ago. What else? The Hydrowave, which is key. We've done entire videos on that, using a Hydrowave to trigger bites and get fish to react. And then, of course, it's set up high on a bracket so that my foot fits in here underneath it comfortably. So the one difference between Tim and I's boat is over here. Oh, and actually while we're here, the troll jacket. You see this neoprene jacket that's on this thing? There are so many cables between the 360, the hydro wave, the stuff that's actually part of the trolling motor itself. There's so many cables. I used to have just a zip tie disaster holding all this stuff together. These neoprene jackets are genius for just cleaning everything up on the deck. But that leads us right here. So the one difference between Tim and I's boats, Tim's boat is a stock Champion 210, which means it still has all the awesome electronic digital controls. My boat, when we got it, one of those controls malfunctioned. Those parts don't exist anymore. So we gutted this boat. I mean, when I say we built them from the ground up, I'm talking full, every single wire in the hull ripped out, rewired the entire boat, every single component, new switch panels, built them ourselves. And as a result, I got to do some things I've always wanted to do. This switch right here is a kill switch on the nose of the boat. Something I've always wanted. I've never seen it. I thought it would be a great idea, and I'm so glad I did it. So when you're on the used boat market, you can do anything with a boat. That's one of the amazing parts. So this kill switch, what that does, at the end of the day, when I drive my boat up on the trailer and I get out and strap it up, one of the most dangerous parts of your entire day is the climbing in and out of the front of that boat on a wet trailer. A lot of people fall. There are major injuries that happen there. I've eliminated it completely. I get out of the boat, strap it up, trim up, kill switch, and walk away. Then after I pull the boat out, go back, take it out of gear, turn the ignition off. But I don't have to do that extra step of climbing in and out with wet feet at the boat ramp, risking a problem at the end of the day when I'm already tired. Was so happy about that. One of the highlights of doing a full rewire job myself. All right, backing down the deck. One of the biggest features of the 210 that I like so much is this giant deck. As a guide, having space for people to fish, space for the rod, space for it. One of the features that matters so much to me as a guide is space. Space for the rods, space for a giant net, space for anglers to stand. When Tim and I are filming, you guys know we like to both be up front. That big deck makes a huge difference. Storage is also key. I protect that storage with a locker bar, which makes all the difference. That's something I've had on every bass boat that I have ever had, and I would not go without. It's just that extra little bit of safety. If somebody is going to destroy a boat to get into a locker, they're going to destroy a boat. But somebody that's just walking by, trying to decide if they're going to commit a crime on the fly, that locker bar is seriously going to slow down that process, and that gives me a lot of comfort. All right, we're switching boats now. The only major difference between Tim and I's boats is that he's a single console, I'm a dual console. The rest of this stuff, all of the components, right down to the batteries, we chose each and every part together. We did all kinds of research, picked the best parts for the job. So let's take a look at what he's got.
Okay, so now we're gonna sit in the console. I'm gonna go over a few things. This is where I spend a lot of time doing offshore site imaging, looking to find those key spot-on-spot locations. So the business end right here, I have a Solix 12 in dash and I have a 15 out the side. Flip-flop from what Matt has. I actually have my mapping and my 2D sonar typically on this unit right here, and on this unit over here I will have strictly side imaging. I got 15 inches to be able to look a long ways and really find those key spots. You know, you guys were always commenting on my gauges going back and forth haywire. That was a wiring issue with the NEMA system with my old motor. I've since, both Matt and I have since upgraded to the new current Yamaha gauges. I'll touch on that in a little bit, but again, 12-inch Solix, 15-inch Solix, trim tabs for the hydraulic jack plate and my trim for my motor, and then down here I have a hot foot. You know, for those that don't know what a hot foot is, it pretty much turns your boat into a car. This is my throttle. All I have to do is put my motor in gear, and this is my throttle. So the farther I push that pedal down, the more gas and faster I go. So it makes it really easy to drive and control the boat in rough water situations. Let's jump to the back and we'll go through some of the things we got back there on the back of the boat. All right, in the compartment back here, the battery compartment back here, gonna go through a few things for you guys very quickly. Right here, I have 4 Odyssey PC 2150s. You know, we get a lot of questions about what batteries we run on our boats. With a lot of the new electronics, they require a lot of power, the trolling motor, the talons, the cranking battery, and we haven't found a better battery than these big Odysseys. They're a little bit heavier than most batteries, but you can run multiple days on a single charge and run all of your stuff. Also, another huge thing about switching over to the 4-stroke is I lost my oil reservoir. Got a lot more space, a lot cleaner down here in this battery compartment. The only other needed features in here, one is the Perco switch. That is a switch that controls the power to my entire boat. A lot of the upgraded electronics and talons, those sorts of things, are always looking for a Bluetooth connection or a wireless connection. So I want to be able to kill all the power to my boat. That way I don't drain my batteries when I don't need to. Also, the last thing is the charger. I have a 4-bank, it's actually a Minn Kota. It's a precision charger, super easy, smart charger, charges my batteries with ease. You know, covering some of this stuff, it might seem minute to some people, but we actually get these questions quite a bit. You know, what batteries are you running? Where do you have your oil reservoir? What gauges are you running? So we're just trying to cover everything. So if you are in the market for a used boat or you're currently upgrading your used boat, hopefully these items will help you out. Jumping to the rear of the boat, shallow water anchors. These are actually 15-foot talons. You know, at first I thought they were a little big because they're a little bit taller than my cowling. I was worried about co-anglers or people fishing from the back actually hitting them, but I've never had an issue, and they reach deep. 15 feet, especially out here on Clear Lake. This whole north end is like a big pond, so I can be 2 miles, 1.5 miles out offshore, anchor down a 15-foot and sit there, and I don't have to be on the trolling motor. I can kill my graphs, be quiet, and fish those key spots I want to fish. Obviously, I got the talon bracket. This right here is a lever where I can hit and it'll fold down my talons. So if I'm backing into a garage or I'm going into an area that the top of these won't clear, I can lay them down and don't have to damage those. Next thing, upgraded to the Atlas hydraulic jack plate. This was a huge step for me. You know, I was always worried about having an older boat, having issues with the transom coming apart. So went ahead and went with the 10-inch Atlas jack plate. And I had an aluminum plate put in just for some added support. But this jack plate is super quiet, super easy to use. Got the controls right up there with a digital gauge. Very, very happy with that jack plate right there. Couple other little things. Got these guys right here. This is to keep your wheel from turning, your motor from turning during transportation. I actually go with the rubber ones. They just keep that movement of the motor to a minimum. Another thing right here, this is the moto stop. It's a solid piece of aluminum. So when I lock that motor down and I'm traveling a long distance, I don't have to worry about that motor coming off, coming up, shaking, dropping down and hitting my lower unit on the ground. You know, Matt and I, we travel a lot. We do a lot of trailering, so wanted to keep these new motors secure while driving. All right, one other thing I want to show you guys before we talk about this big bad boy right here. One of the issues when switching from a 2-stroke to a 4-stroke, there's a lot of pros, but one of the cons was I had a hole where my old oil reservoir spout was, where I'd fill up my oil. So what I had done was I had a plate made and we went with a remote drain plug. This is awesome. In or out, super easy to use. Anytime you forget to put your plug in or out, how many times have you guys been out on the lake and all of a sudden your automatic bilge kicks in, water starts shooting out, you realize, uh-oh, I launched the boat without putting my plug in. All you have to do, put your plug in. Super easy, no more climbing under the boat or hitting your head on the jack plate or anything like that. Easy in and out drain plug. This is a must-have. Now let's talk about this guy right here.
All right, the biggest piece of both restorations was the motor. Tim's boat came with a Yamaha 300 HPDI. Mine came with a Mercury 250 Pro XS. Both motors were the same year as the boats. We both knew going in that we wanted 4-strokes. But what were the odds that you were going to find a 4-stroke on an older Champion 210 that was in great shape, right? That was never going to happen. So when each of us bought the boat, we knew that an upgrade was coming. We started doing our research about what motor we wanted to put on. We knew 4-stroke was the way we were going. One of the beautiful things about what we do is that we have an incredible amount of freedom. We're not sponsored pros where you have some sort of obligations. We're able to go where we want to go, do what we need to do, use whatever components make the most sense to us. One of the things that's really important to Tim and I is the actual bass fishing industry, the sport of bass fishing, and the conservation efforts that keep it alive. AFTCO, as an example, is a company that does so much for conservation. They give so much back at the end of every year that we wear their products. Another one of those companies is Yamaha. So the Yamaha SHO has been around for a few years. It has been run through the ringer by thousands and thousands and thousands of anglers. The reliability is there. So we liked the vision of that company. We like all of the efforts that they do to take care of fishing, to take care of fishermen, to take care of the environment, and we trusted that motor. So that's the route we decided to go. We both went with a 250. For me, that was a straight across move. It was a lateral move from one 250 to the next. I have been amazed at the mid-range power that I picked up, as well as my top end. I'm actually running better than I was with an older 2-stroke that already had some hours on it. What surprised me most is that when I talked to Tim, I was actually at the boat ramp when he pulled out of the water after his first run after his break-in. Tim started talking about how much more mid-range power he had, which was amazing because he went from a 300 to a 250. You would think he'd have some sort of a performance drop, but that mid-range is where most bass fishermen spend all their time. They're not trying to do 90 miles an hour down the lake. You're not in a blast off every day of the week. Most anglers are just cruising down the lake somewhere between 3,500 and 4,800 RPM, just staying comfortable, trying to get some life out of their motor and enjoy their time on the lake while being safe. That mid-range power in these motors is incredible. It's got the top end. This one screams. I picked up top end, but that mid-range is phenomenal.
Thank you guys for coming along and checking out our fully restored Champions. You know, we're very excited now that these boats are 100% to get back out on the road. You know, we wrapped up probably 20 or 30 or 40,000 trailered miles this year, and we're looking to do a lot more next year. We got some exciting trips planned. But more importantly, get out on the road, meet more of you guys, show up at your guys' lakes, fish those bodies of water, and help you guys figure out those fisheries. If you guys like this video, give us a thumbs up. Remember to subscribe to the channel. We do 3 videos a week for you. We appreciate you guys. Have a good one.